Behold, the Brothers' War. There's a lot more to this set than just finding out which of the two brothers wins. Spoilers, it's Urza. This set is actually packed full of really powerful cards, so much so that even formats like Modern are finding new pieces for their decks. But for those of us who play the best casual format, Commander, there are many undiscovered treasures waiting to be, well, discovered. This set is already shaping up to be one of the most fun to draft down at your local game store. But if you are that Commander player, don't buy booster boxes and crack packs looking for specific pieces for your Commander decks. No, you need to buy singles. But which singles? Presented here are my top picks, not of best commanders, but of best cards for the 99. So remember, don't buy the Brothers' War in order to get Commander singles. Just buy these Magic the Gathering cards for your Commander decks instead. But first, a quick word about this video. 100001100100010001110001111111111. Zero. No, wait, I meant 100. Anyway, that was supposed to be binary for, have you ever wanted to learn how to code? Sure, learning to code isn't all ones and zeros, and sure, learning to code isn't quite the most thrilling of abilities to learn, but what if it was? What if learning to code was like playing an adventure quest with real-world experiences you could benefit from? Well, that's where Lane Wagner's and Alan Lyer's Boot.dev comes in. Boot.dev is a simple curriculum where students build real projects using modern programming languages and technologies. The approach to learning how to code is the Boot team's speciality. Lane and Alan really know the back-end development and have created a simple and articulate software to teach computer science through hands-on coding projects. Now you can work on learning and mastering Python, Go, and other tools that'll cover real-world situations to prepare you for a career in coding. Not only are Lane and Alan huge Magic the Gathering fans, but they're huge nerds too! They are constantly hanging out in their Boot.dev Discord where you can get help whenever you need it. The interface is super easy to understand and the overall concept is spliced with the feeling of a video game. As you progress through the lessons, you will gain real experience points. It's fun and super rewarding seeing your progress grow and be the character you usually play as. So why wait? If your dream is to become a computer scientist or just improve your skills for fun and pleasure, I have got no better recommendation than to check out Boot.dev. Use my code Tolarian at checkout for 25% off. That's only $24 a month. And that beats the price of going to college. Or community college. Anyway, thanks Lane and Alan of Boot.dev for sponsoring this video. So what are the top Commander cards from Brothers' War for the 99 in your Commander decks? First up, behold, I have recovered for you a rare piece of ancient lost Commander technology. White card draw. It's Tocasia's Welcome. Tocasia's Welcome is a 3-mana enchantment that draws you a card whenever a small creature of yours enters the battlefield once per turn. Now, the each turn part is important because Tocasia's Welcome can trigger on your opponent's turns as well. That means at most you can draw a grand total of 4 times each round. This can easily be achieved by pairing Tocasia's Welcome with cards like Tender Shoot Dryad. Not only do you get to make 4 Saprolings each round, but you're also drawing 4 cards as well. Playing cards like Tocasia's Welcome is important for aggressive decks that consistently make small creatures, such as token decks. This is because it keeps you from running out of cards to play. There's nothing less fun in Commander than having an empty hand. This is why Tocasia's Welcome pairs up so nicely with cards like Welcoming Vampire or even Rumor Gatherer. While I know White has gotten a lot of really good cards in terms of draw lately, not to mention Mana Ramp and other goodies, I really like Tocasia's Welcome as it is a smaller piece of the big puzzle. Just preparing for this video, I got to dive into all of these combinations that will work in synergy with Tocasia's Welcome to make an engine of card draw for your deck. But not all card draw in the Brothers' War is so welcoming. Sometimes you're going to get a little mean to negotiate a better deal for yourself. Coming in at number 6, it's Hostile Negotiations. Hostile Negotiations is an instant for 3 generic and a black that reads, exile the top 3 cards of your library in a face-down pile. Then exile the top 3 cards of your library in another face-down pile. Look at the cards in each pile, then turn a pile of your choice face up. An opponent chooses one of those piles. Put that pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. You lose 3 life. This is a great card for not only giving your opponent a tough choice, but also perhaps playing some mind games with them. The fun begins when you present your opponent with a face-up pile and a face-down pile, and they'll have to make the choice of which one goes into your hand and which will go into your graveyard. You also lose 3 life, which is pretty hostile after all. Hostile Negotiations is very similar to other cards like, of course, Fact or Fiction, as well as Steam Augury, except it's especially special because it's for black players. Not only that, but this card being instant means you can leave your mana and weigh your options of what you want to do during your opponent's turn. And then right before your turn, strike up a nasty negotiation with an opponent and look at 6 cards, 6, from the top of your deck. Being able to effectively draw 3 at instant speed is very powerful for a black card, especially when the trade-off is so little in life, and double especially when we're talking commander. You can also maximize the utility of this card by playing it in a Reanimator deck or a deck that plays from the graveyard. You can trick your opponent into discarding a pile with a card that is useful in the graveyard, such as cards with Unearth or Flashback. Next, coming in at number 5 is a card that you get when you make a Phyrexian Metamorph upset. And trust me, you do not want to upset a Phyrexian Metamorph or you get a Hulking Metamorph. Ooh. Hulking Metamorph is a fun new clone that can take the form of any artifact or creature you control on the battlefield for a massive 9 mana. Except, what's special about Hulking Metamorph is that it stays an artifact creature and keeps its power and toughness while assuming the rest of the copied card's abilities. If you ever dreamed of hitting your opponent with a Soul Ring or a massive robotic 7/7 Llanowar Elves, then this is your chance. But wait, there's more. Hulking Metamorph is one of the new artifact creature cards that can be played in 2 modes. By using its prototype mechanic, you can cast Hulking Metamorph for 4 mana instead of the 9, and the Metamorph will enter as a 3/3 instead. Hulking Metamorph is a wonderful card because it can copy artifacts, allowing you to double up on powerful cards like Halo Fountain or even just a Gilded Lotus. It's also great for cloning creatures where its power or toughness matters. If you want to be extra mean and start a Brothers' War of your own, you can have Hulking Metamorph copy a creature like Cephalid Constable and really cause some personal but friendly divides within your playgroup. Wow, with all these hulking robotic monstrosities tearing up the battlefield, you're not going to want to leave this next card at home. Coming in at number 4, it's Fade from History. Fade from History is a sorcery for 2 generic and 2 green. It reads, each player who controls an artifact or enchantment creates a 2/2 green bear creature token. Then destroy all artifacts and enchantments. This card is the latest and greatest in enchantment and artifact removal. Until now, most of the mass removal that destroyed both these things have been spells that cost at least 5 mana, and usually only available to white, like Purify or Cleansing Nova. But watch out, white, because green has yet again taken something you do and done it better. For maximum effect, playing Fade from History with a token's commander like the recent Queen Elenil of Rodok can give you additional benefits for the 2/2 bear that comes from Fade from History. And I'm sure this is a welcome addition to the Bear Force 1 family, pairing ever so nicely with a Eula, Queen Among Bears. Imagine pairing this up with the effect to put 2 +1/+1 counters on target bear whenever another bear enters the battlefield. Or going even further into fierce territory by having target bear you control fight target creature you don't control. I guess your opponents will just have to grin and bear it. All right, let's talk about Urza, or more specifically, Urza's Battlethopter. Liberator, Urza's Battlethopter isn't your parents' Ornithopter. Instead, it costs 3 mana for a 1/2 legendary artifact creature with flash and flying. When this is in play, you may cast colorless spells and artifact spells as though they had flash. OMG, I'm already sold, but wait, there's even more. Whenever you cast a spell, if the amount of mana spent to cast that spell is greater than Liberator, Urza's Battlethopter's power, put a +1/+1 counter on Liberator. And to top it all off, it's got Urza's face on it. That way you know whose it is. Just like Urza's mitre, Urza's glasses, Urza's sunglasses, Urza's hot tub, Urza wants you to know it's his. So yes, while Liberator makes for an interesting commander choice, it's in this video because it's a must-play card in any artifact deck because of the flexibility it gives you when you can cast your colorless spells. Have a big, powerful artifact like Bolas's Citadel? Why not wait until the blue player taps out and then flash in the Citadel? Someone attacking you with a Llanowar Elf to send a message? Send a message right back at them by flashing in an artifact blocker like Hulking Metamorph. Liberator lives up to the name by giving you true freedom in how you want to play your game. The last time we saw a card like this was Shimmermere from Mirrodin Besieged, and that doesn't even fly. I guess Urza does play favorites after all. The last thing to consider with Liberator is that all colorless spells you control have flash now, which means you can even play colorless cards like the Eldrazi Titans at instant speed. Show your opponents why Urza was the true villain with this Liberator liberating them from their life totals. So what are the top 2 cards from Brothers War for commander decks that go in the 99? Well, if you're wondering about ways to pay for all those expensive artifacts that you're going to want to put into play, look no farther than Sarinth Greatwurm. Sarinth Greatwurm is a 6-mana, 7/6 red and green worm with trample, and it also gives you a tapped Power Stone token whenever a land enters the battlefield. First introduced in Dominaria United, Power Stone tokens are artifacts that can tap for a colorless mana, with the caveat that this mana cannot be used to cast a non-artifact spell. What makes this worm great is that it counts your opponent's lands too. So every cycle, if everybody plays a land, the Greatwurm will give you 4 Power Stones to pay for your artifact spells and their abilities. If one of your opponents is a lands deck, Sarinth Greatwurm can give you even more. Don't have enough artifacts in your deck? There are other ways to use the Power Stone tokens. While these Power Stones can't be used to cast non-artifact spells, they can be used to power up abilities of permanents you control, even non-artifact ones. With enough Power Stones, you can do some serious damage with creatures with colorless abilities, like Baal's Invoker, where you can spend 8 mana to deal 4 damage to each opponent. And if you also control an unwinding clock, these Power Stones are going to power up for enough damage to wind your opponents up. What's more, the Power Stones are artifacts themselves, and you can deal damage to your opponents with those Power Stones by playing enchantments like Ghirapur Aether Grid or Makeshift Munitions. So what is the number 1 card from Brothers War for commander decks in the 99? Well, dull surprise, it's a green card, 'cause green. Hey, at least it's not Simic. The number 1 card from Brothers War for the 99 in Commander has got to be Awaken the Woods, a sorcery that costs X and double green and allows you to create X 1/1 green forest dryad land creature tokens. Are the trees moving? Well, that's because they've been awakened by the Brothers War. What a deceptively simple card this is. Remember, these dryad tokens will have summoning sickness, so they won't be able to tap for mana without having haste when you first create them. But nonetheless, Awaken the Woods is a great way to set up for a following turn by spending all your mana into making a ton of forest creature tokens, allowing you to untap the following turn to make some big moves. But that is not where the real fun begins. Because Awaken the Woods creates forest creature land tokens, the tokens will synergize with any effects that care about lands, and this definitely includes landfall. Play this in a deck like Tatiova, Benthic Druid, and watch your hand fill up as each Dryad token triggers her ability to draw a card and gain a life for each token you make. Or if you're in a more rageful mood, cast a big Awaken the Woods with Omnath, Locus of Rage, to have every Dryad come in with a bigger, meaner 5/5 red and green elemental friend. Also, don't forget the Lands Matters cards like Ashaya, Soul of the Wild, or the new green sleeves Morrow Sorcerer that are as powerful as the number of lands you control, enabling Awaken the Woods to be a permanent boost to their power and toughness. Because these forest Dryads are tokens, don't forget that they also synergize with all the great token cards like Anointed Procession, Second Harvest, and of course, doubling drawing season. The forests are really going to awake with any of those cards. Lastly, don't forget, because the Dryad tokens are lands, they cannot be bounced back with an overloaded Cyclonic Rift. Take that, Blue Mage. The synergies are endless with Awaken the Woods, which is what makes it the top card from Brothers War for the 99. It fits with a lot of archetypes, is great across all stages of the game, and also is a very fair inclusion in any deck. But those are just my picks for the top cards from Brothers War for the 99, and now I want to hear from you. What cards are you most excited for, not as commanders from Brothers War, but to acquire to put inside commander decks, both new and old? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, whether you're buying singles or packs, or whether you're buying deck boxes or card sleeves, when it is possible, when it is reasonable to do so, try and spend that money where you spend time playing this great game, and that's at your local game store. You're supporting your Magic community. Hey, thanks again to Boot.dev for sponsoring this video. If you want to get started in a career in learning how to code or learning computer science, or just want to brush up on your skills as a hobby, head on over to Boot.dev and use my code Tellarian at checkout for 25% off. I really believe in this program and think Lane and Allen's approach to learning a complex skill and mashing it into a real reinforcing curriculum is a powerful tool to have at the ready. Don't wait, get started today with Boot.dev.
Next time on Shuffle Up and Play.
Today, we are playing Commander, but it's pre-EDH, which means no Commander pre-con cards whatsoever. We'll be playing Duran, the Siege Tower.
Essentially a 5/5.
It has 0 power.
I'm gonna put 6 mana Spitting Image.
And you're also supposed to write legibly.
It's like a Rorschach test.
Sheldon, if I defeat you at Commander, do I get to be on the rules committee?
You do not.
Brian.
Which?
Brian number 1.
Am I number 1? Am I number 1, or am I the professor? I do not own a Diamond Valley, and I'm wondering if anybody here has any objection if I just take this basic forest and write Diamond Valley on it so that I can play. Does anyone object?